We are not financial advisors, nor are we broker-dealers. Securities used in these videos are examples only. Investing comes with risk. Investing options also has risk. These demo accounts may be used, but they are for training purposes only. Testimonials may be offered. Don't expect the same thing. Remember, we're all here as peers helping peers. This is not professional advice. We're here to help each other. Enjoy.
Okay, for our next speaker, we have Evie Patrico. Everybody know her? I think, as most of us know, Evie is the leader of the Rocky Mountain Moneymakers, and she's married to Mark Grizzly since 1994. Right there's Mark in the middle. Evie started with Invest Tools in 2007. Evie and Mark run a photography business in also addition to their trading. And Evie was previously a CPA and an auditor. Our main trading strategy is in the money diagonals, the one that Matt teaches, with emphasis on good technical entries, exits, and short management. Evie also, I think a lot of us know, helped Matt organize and put on those diagonal classes that we all took. So she's very involved in that and helping teach others. So with all that, let's give it up for Evie Patrico.
I bet you everyone is jealous of me today because I'm wearing the Think or Swim beret. I've been told by the folks at the back that they've been asking, they had been asking Tom Sosner for these berets, but I guess they're not as pretty as me, so I got lucky. And I managed to get one for my husband as well. So we have a four-poster bed, and we actually have the berets on the back of the headboard. I know that's sort of crazy, but don't
tell Tom that.
I won't tell Tom that. Well, you know, now there's a recording, so he can listen to it if he wants. So, originally, I said I was going to talk about trading in a small account because I thought Matt was going to talk about trading in a large account. So, but you know, things change, and I'll still talk about what I set out to talk about. Does anyone other than me have at least one very small account? Okay. And would like to trade, kind of trend trade in there, but then you think, oh, I've only got just a few $1,000s and the only thing I can do is verticals or something like that, or buying, just swing trading. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are like that because I've heard that from others. So it wasn't quite a year ago, it was about 8-9 months ago or so, together with Mark, we actually set out to say, hey, let's see what we can do, because we'd been learning with Matt for a number of months by then. So we wanted to set out and see how can we trend trade and use the diagonal concepts in a small account. So one of the, and this is going to be a testimonial here. I had an IRA with about $4,500 and started in the fall of last year. Now, you're all going to say it was really easy because the market was actually trending strongly, right? But by the end of the year, that account was up over 70%. Oh, that's what's happened. Okay, my cross will go at the back. How's that? That's what you're hearing. Okay, I was hearing that and didn't know what it was. Okay, so that's a testimonial, and I know no investors person can say their actual results, but this is an actual result that I had in one of my accounts. So how did we do it? So it was mostly U.S. sector ETFs. I did attempt to trade EWC in there, not with a lot of success, just because of some of the stuff that Matt was saying. I didn't have enough money to actually buy the stock, and that was the case with the whole account. And EWC traded horribly, so I ended up losing some money on there. I was trying to throw some verticals in that account, and I was doing horribly with my verticals. I didn't know Bert that well by then. So the main focus of where I sat was to trade, the sector ETFs. So XLE, XLB, XLI, XLY, XRT, those ETFs. Now, I made a decision that I wouldn't trade utilities. Now, Brett made an excellent point this morning that you can actually trade, trading or investing, I should say, in XLU is great because those companies pay dividends, it's fairly stable, there's not as much volatility in there. XLP was another one, the staples US sector. It doesn't move that much, or at least it didn't. So I couldn't really trade it. So I knew that I had benchmark risk, but I also knew that I had other accounts that I could diversify in. Now this was an IRA account, which was a normal IRA that during that time I converted into a Roth as well, and still that's what I was doing. I was trading those. I was also. Is anyone else blown away by Matt's understanding of global economics, about fundamentals? I've been working closely with Matt for almost 2 years now. I've been really trying. I read my Economist, I read my Bloomberg Business Week. I'm trying to read the 10K reports, but I fall asleep. No, I do. I read releases. I go and I find like the Morningstar analyst reports and the Standard & Poor's analyst reports, and I read those. So I'm learning about the individual companies. But in terms of all the fundamentals, I'm just a little baby in that department. A lot of you who we've been working together with a diagonal group, know that I get stumped a lot when it comes to fundamentals. But I'm not giving up. I'm going to grow over time in that department, and that's okay. But I had to start somewhere. I have to start trading with what I know. And technical analysis was something that, all of us at InvestTools, we start to learn that. So I've been using heavy technical analysis. So what I thought I'd do is share a couple of examples. One example that will, as far as I'm concerned, stop touching the microphone, worked really well, and another one that worked okay, but I'm still kicking myself about it. So first up, I know it will be really difficult to look at the chart, and I've actually posted the slides on R3M, and I've tweaked them a little bit. I will post them again. But you can see where the first blob is. That's when Mark and I together agreed and we entered that trade. So I used technical analysis. It had been consolidating for a while. Do you all see like this section through here? Sort of been going sideways and then it popped up. So the market had been trending there. From our limited, very weak fundamental analysis, we were expecting that energy would continue to go up. So we bought a couple. Now remember, this account was $4,500, okay? I can't go and Matt was saying 7 contracts would be great, great number to use. There was no way, because each contract was $250. So if I were to do 7 contracts, that would take up half the account. I did not want to do that. So I just did 2 for about $500. I will post all my trades. They're actually showing on the next slide. You're not going to be able to, to read it anyway. But I stayed covered. I was using technical analysis, and somewhere around here, can you see where it was looking like it did like a double? It was doing like a double top. So I covered. So all those things that we learn with technical analysis. Then I uncover, I roll up, etc., etc., and then I use the MACD histogram very, very heavily. And can you see here, it started to be volatile. See, for me, I keep saying this, I'm bringing the technicals in, but it had a pullback. I'm still in it. But then, as you see where I have the two kind of pink, whatever color blobs there are, look at what the MACD was doing below. At that point, the MACD here was lower. I'd had a really nice run up. I was up about 80% on this trade. I felt that maybe the run had temporarily run out of steam. But I was in this trade from beginning of November through middle of April. So fairly longish term trade. I've made a lot of money. My intention isn't to sit out of this, but I got out right there. Was I lucky or what? Yes. Yeah. Now, Matt will stick with it. He will roll his shorts down. You're going to say, well, why didn't you've been learning with Matt? You should know better. Why didn't you just stick with that trade, right? Here's what I found. And this is why it needs to work for me, okay? I will never be able to trade like Matt. I will never be able to trade like Brad or Pat or anybody else here. This is what works for me. You hearing that? You've got to figure out a way for it to work for you if you are going to trade this or actually any strategy out there. Okay? So what I am horrible at is managing my shorts on these trades. So I'm one of the ones who whines and says, but I'm losing money on my shorts. And Matt will say, but you're making money on my longs. I'm like, no, not as much. Or maybe I am, but overall, it just doesn't make sense to me. So rather than overuse my shorts and try and roll, a lot of the times, and I'll show you on the other chart when you'll see the one that I didn't do so well in, I don't roll my shorts down, and I know that Matt showed a number of examples. I don't roll my shorts down, and then when I do, I don't buy them back up in time. I don't use my technicals, right? And I get stumped, and I can't do it. So what I'm finding, for me, it works. Let me just sit out some volatility, and then use my technical skills again to get back in. Okay? Now, I know that, a lot of you, probably Matt, will say, but that's not longer term trend trading. Well, I was in this trade for how many months? I mean, that's reasonably long term. It's a trend. Okay. Now, I would have liked to have gotten in on September 1, but, I wasn't there, and that's okay. So between those two, and in fact, I actually closed the trade over Christmas, I think. Anyway, something like that. But during that time, some of you at the back might not be able to read it, but the XLE was up 27%, and after commissions, I was up 80%. Okay? All right. So 2 points to take out of, what I'm sharing with you right now. Number one is that you can trade it, and you can be profitable with having small number of contracts in a small account. And number two, it's okay to take profits when they present themselves. So I think I talked about some of these. Why did I enter the uptrend, the breakout? Mark and I talk about these things, really believe that energy would continue to go up. And I exited, overextended, the MACD was telling me so, and we'd had this big oil crisis, if you remember, early in the spring, and that went away. Yeah, there was a question.
Does Thinkorswim allow you to use array count for diagonals?
Does Thinkorswim allow us to use diagonals? Yes, Thinkorswim allows us to have short options against something that is a long. In fact, you can have short put options. I'm sorry?
You can use covered calls.
Yes, so just like a covered call, as long as I have a long option, which is further out in time than my short option, Thinkorswim, my broker, allows me to do that, allows all of us to do that. I'm sorry? Oh, sorry, as long as the long is not sooner in time than the short call. Thank you.